Okay, tonight we're talking about the one thing I'm really excited for this conversation. That's like an evil laugh, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. How do you define failure and when does it make sense to fail? Now, for some of you, that second question, you can be a little bit like confused. You're gonna be like, what you talking about, girl? Just go with me. When does it make sense to fail? I think of failure. Failure is not showing up like I said I was, not doing what I said I would do over and over and over again. Ooh, I like it. I was trying to think of like failures my brain goes to naturally. Of course, I'm gonna go to Beyonce, y'all, because a lot of people say all of these are failures. Like they started off as failures, but we wouldn't count it as a failure because it ended up working out. I think about Beyonce. I think for every album, there's at least 70 to 100 songs that she just records. She just records them. And then she's like, okay, well, we have to choose 10 to 12. Now, somebody would be like, so were the other 60 plus a failure? Because she did all the work. She wrote she probably didn't write them. She probably got it from a writer. She probably changed some words on there. She probably went in there and record, changed some things, re-recorded them, only to not choose them at the end. Stephen King, one of my favorite writers, because I would love to be in his mind for like 10 minutes. Like, how do you come up with this stuff? It says he rewrites his novels 3 to 4 times. And if you ever seen a Stephen King novel, have y'all seen them? You know how long, how many pages? What is it, like 400 or 500 pages? He rewrites it 3 to 4 times. The first time for himself, and then the other times for the audience. But we get to some failures that you might be like, no, this was a real failure. Because listen, my heart was broke in 2004. Was it 2002 or 2004? I may have the date wrong. Either way, when Jennifer Hudson did not make it, I was like, what is happening? American Idol? What numbers were y'all looking at? Because the numbers in Chicago, we were on the phone, okay? We were on the phone. We had phone trees. She should have won. And that was supposed to be she's now an EGOT winner. If you don't know what an EGOT is, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony winner. She has won all four. Kobe, 11 years old. His father is a professional basketball player. He goes to summer league and they don't win not one game. He don't score not 1 point. And he said, never will that happen ever again. And he went from being this person at 11 to entering the National Basketball Association at age 17, taking Brandy to prom, taking pictures with his bro. It's great times. Now, if y'all have more examples, you let me know. Perfecting a craft. Ooh, okay. Do you want to tell me more, Kay? Tell me more about perfecting a craft. Daniela, we don't tolerate such slander, and it's hard because I love Kelly Clarkson, but that's what we're not doing. Okay, I'm sorry. What are you gonna say, Kay? And so I love that language. For everyone on this call, do you consider writing, research, academia to be a part of your craft or a craft, something that's going to be long term for you? Or is this just coming down to the dissertation? I love going, but we could just stay here for the rest of the day. We could just stay on this slide for the rest of the day. Why? Because y'all think that this dissertation is supposed to be your best work. Beyonce didn't record it over, I think, like 500 songs or something. What? If you think this one dissertation is going to be the thing that makes or break you? Fascinating. It's not. It's just one step, one thing you produce out of many. Think about over your career, over a lifetime. When you're 85 years old and you're looking back at this dissertation, do you want it to be the best thing you've ever written? All of it. Hey there, Water. All of it is a part of your craft. I like that language. Are you willing to fail to doctor? How I define failure is you didn't get your intended result. You thought one thing was going to happen, but another thing happened. That's it. You thought you were going to write chapter 2 in October, and it didn't happen. You thought your chair was going to love your topic. It didn't happen. That's it. The only thing that happened is you thought one thing was going to happen and another thing happened. And for me, failure is like, oh, I was just missing some information, was missing a step. Great, thank you. And it can mean whatever you make it mean. And you could just make it mean like, oh, it helped me to figure out my next step. Oh, that just doesn't work. Sounds good. Doesn't have to mean anything about you, your worth, what's going to happen in the future. It could just mean like, oh, okay, well, don't do that again. Or maybe try it this way. Are you willing to fail over and over and over if that means you get to graduation? That is an honest question that I want you to sit with for this presentation. Now, some of y'all, because I've done this multiple times, Kalia could probably do it for me. Now, some of y'all gonna say, well, I don't want to fail and I want to get to graduation. No, that's not an option. Because I don't know anyone who did not fail. And if you don't like the language of fail, that's why I use the word fail. Because you don't like, I'm trying to irritate the emotions a little bit. I'm trying to get you to take the power away from this word. Right? If we take the definition of you thought one thing was going to happen, another thing happened, it don't have nothing to do with your worth. If you deserve this or not, it's just like, oh, well, that didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. What's next? Yes, Michelle. How do we keep going? Even if it was like, oh, that didn't work. Here's the thing, you don't have to blame yourself, you don't have to blame other people. Side note, blame is just your way of trying to get control. Because when we feel like, well, we planned something out, you thought one thing was gonna happen and a whole completely other thing happens, then you look, then it's like, oh, I really don't have control. It feels like I don't have control over my future. It feels like I don't have control over the outcome. Right. And so we tend to be like, okay, well, somebody has to be at fault. And it's usually us. We're like, I'm a horrible person. I'm being real nice because your brain probably don't even sound that nice. But you're just doing that. You just start talking shit to yourself because you're just trying to find control. You're trying to feel better. And you think if you can blame it on something, then you'll know what to do. Like, I could fix me. Could fix me being a hot mess, but I just can't fix it if it just randomly happened. It don't have to be either that or like it don't have to be something that was just random, or it doesn't have to be that it was your fault. It could just be like, oh, I just thought one thing was gonna happen, another thing did. It's your brain. It's colorful brain. I don't even know where I got this picture probably somewhere off of Google. Nope, I got it off of Canva. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this as simple as possible. I know this is more complicated than what I'm about to make it, but just go with me. The back of your brain here, it's the old part of your brain. It's been with you since the beginning, when the sperm got in the egg, beginning. Some people call it the lizard brain. It's where the emotions are. That's what I'm focusing on. And most of these emotions are unconscious. You don't even know they just back there, just running around. It's the part of your brain that's like autopilot is the way. We don't like no new friends, no new emotions, no new way of doing things. We just want to do what we've always been doing. And it's called lizard brain because if you ever got a lizard trapped in your home, like from a friend who live in the South, you ever got one trapped in your car, they will bite off a limb if that means they get away. It is irrational and it's emotion based and it is all about survival. Front part of your brain, prefrontal cortex is the grown up in the room. It takes a lot of energy to function. It operates off of logic. Y'all be trying the short of this, I have a slide. The short of this is you try to use logic to control this part of the brain, and they speak two different languages. Let me get more into it. You can override the lizard brain with your prefrontal cortex, but it comes at a cost. So if I go back here, this part, you have 6 solid hours a day roughly to use this part. This is not unlimited. You got about 6 hours. The 6 hours needs to be organized in like 2-hour sessions because you need a break in between. If you do not take the break, those 6 hours begin to shrink down. So you want to use the logical part of your brain for the most attentive, like focus consuming tasks. This part of the brain, you use this for like autopilot. So like brushing your teeth, driving to work. What is something you do every day? I don't know. Maybe it's like talk to your mama. You do that on autopilot. I don't know your life. This is autopilot habits. If you try to not I'm a power through, or you try not to switch tasks, you try to do multiple tasks, this 6 hours will go down. You will not have a 6 solid hours. You will have more like 4 or 3. What I'm saying with this is if you were just focused, say you were writing and you decided, okay, I'm going to write chapter 2. I'm not getting out the seat before I write chapter 2. I'm saying that you have a solid 6 hours because that takes a lot of concentration, right? A lot of thinking of how to put the words together. You got a solid 6 hours, but in that 6 hours, you need to take breaks. You're going to need to take at least 2 20 to 30 minute breaks. Now, if I know y'all, like I think I know y'all because I would try this. I'd be like, I don't need the breaks. I got 6 hours. I'm going to just try to push through. That's great. But your brain is like, I'm going to have to borrow that time from somewhere. So since you decided on Sunday to just keep going and not give it a break, it's like, as tomorrow on Monday, don't try to do the same thing. Tuesday, you definitely not gonna try. You're not gonna have any energy left over because you used up the tank on Sunday. Is that making sense? What I mean by that? Like you only have a finite amount of time. Now, a lizard brain is like, I will go as long as you are going because I got one job: survival. I'm not trying to be logical. I can't help you write. In fact, I'm gonna stop you from writing because I'm focused on survival. You're using your prefrontal cortex when you are doing dissertation work. You cannot, most of you are trying to use your lizard brain to do the work, and the lizard brain is like, girl, and I don't mean girl because you are a girl. It's just, this is what I say. Okay, so the lizard brain is, it got three jobs. So it's about survival, but it does it in three ways. It is trying to help you conserve energy, avoid pain, and seek pleasure. Guess what goes against these three rules? You writing. Writing does not help you to conserve energy. It is painful. And it is not, I don't think y'all would describe it as pleasurable. Maybe some of you, maybe you got there. I hope you got there. But I don't think you would be like over your favorite TV show if it came down to writing a shitty paragraph of your favorite your favorite TV show. Which one are you choosing? The TV show. That's what the lizard brain is going to choose. That goes the wrong way. Yes. Your lizard brain will try to stop you from doing anything new, challenging, or demanding because for its logic, it's like if it's challenging or new or demanding, you're going to die. The chances of you dying increase because it's new. We don't know that. We don't. That means I gotta expend energy to do a new thing. No, I like to work on autopilot. I like knowing what to do already. You don't have to think when you're in autopilot. If it's challenging, that's more energy. That's not fun. It's not fun to grow. It's not easy to grow. And if it's demanding, it's not fun. It's not easy. It's painful. So that's why that part is like, no, we're going to die. We can't do that. And so then it starts to send up feelings like you're overwhelmed. It's overwhelmed. This is too much. You can't write this. A shitty paragraph is going to be too long. It's too, you get confused. You're like, I don't even know how to write a paragraph. No one's ever taught me how to write a paragraph. Or you're like, I don't even have a motivation to do this. Your brain will tell you that the lizard brain will be like, don't you want to go watch TV? What about the dishes? Ooh, we should go walk to the store. It will tell you any and everything that will take less energy, be less painful than you writing. These feelings are very real because I don't want to be like, they're not real. No, it's very real. That part of that, it's been with you since the beginning. So it knows exactly what to do and what levers to pull. So you will feel a certain way and they will be very real in the body. But the thing is, I want you to know they're temporary. And so if you can sit with them and realize they are temporary, it's like, thank you, Lizard Brain, you're trying to save me. I will say this out loud. I get that you're trying to save me, but I have to do this thing. I probably have this on another slide because it's a lot, but we're going to go with it. You are worth more than your accomplishments. Capitalism tells you that it doesn't matter if this is happening, that you got to produce, right? A lot of you will say, I want to be a doctor because it'll make me legitimate, or people will finally have to see me, or they'll finally have to give me respect. That is another way of you saying the doctorate will make sure it will be proof that I am worthy, whether that's worthy of respect, worthy of being seen, worthy of being liked, worthy of being listened to. And I am saying you are worthy of all of that and more just because you are here, because you are existing. Capitalism is a lie. The degree will be something that you do. It is not who you are, because you are already legitimate and deserving. And the more that you can agree with that or accept that or believe that, the more that you'll give yourself permission to override the lizard brain when it tries to stop you and you go after your goal, that you'll be willing to fail your way to your goal. Because when you fail, which is probably a point I missed, the lizard brain is like, oops, see, now I got proof. So you shouldn't have done it in the first place because now you failed. And now everything that everybody was saying and thinking is right because it's trying to get you to stop pursuing this degree. And in order to override your lizard brain, you're going to need a lot of energy and emotional bandwidth. If you are tired, if you are not drinking your water, if you are not sleeping, if you don't eat real food, if you don't socialize with other people, you do not have as much emotional capacity or energy to override the lizard brain. And so it will keep feeding you this narrative that's going to stop you from taking action. I got ahead of myself, but y'all get it. A lot of you feel trapped in resentment, like it shouldn't be this way. It's not fair. Other people have more support than I do. Maybe you're trapped in guilt and shame. I didn't do enough. I don't read enough. I'm a bad writer. I don't deserve to be here. Maybe you're just like, girl, I don't got none of all of that. I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. I'm burnt out. I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. And these become a loop, becomes a thing that you get stuck in. Because your lizard brain is like, as long as you are stuck here, you know what you're gonna do? Focus on surviving. You're gonna focus on what I'm focusing on. We're gonna survive. The more that you stay in these emotions, the less that you will continue to do things that are scary, that are hard, that are challenging, because then you'll become consumed with, how do I get rid of these? And you won't be worried about, well, how do I write? How do I go meet with my chair? Like, why would you, if you're already like burnt out or have a lot of shame, why would you then go schedule a meeting with your chair where your brain is already going to say, that's going to add on to the shame and the guilt? I'm not going to do that. I think y'all are with me, actually. Let me just check in. Can I get a one word? How y'all doing? Give me a one word response so far. I thought I had a slide, but I think it's much later. And I just want to check in before I keep going. Anybody have anything they want to say? It's okay if you don't. I just wanted to give the floor in case you do. No one words. Nobody has a word. How you feeling? Give me an emoji. Is emoji easy?
I love the topic of failure. It's something that I wish I got comfortable with earlier on, because I think I would have taken more risk, but that perfectionism and the desire to succeed made failure a lot scarier than it actually is. I mean, it sucks, but I I love that your examples included a lot of performers, because like as a singer and music major, one of the things I had to get comfortable with is criticism. We would stand before class every Wednesday and sing, and then be critiqued by our instructor in front of everybody, and then also our classmates. So you had to get very comfortable with failure or criticism real fast. And that's one of the pieces that I carry with me in all circumstances. I don't sing for every job, but that criticism and being comfortable with getting negative feedback or any type of feedback was something that has carried me a lot and stayed with me. But I feel like when the person is comfortable with not succeeding in every circumstance, they would be willing to take more risk and be okay with not with getting C's. As you were saying, I think a few weeks ago, C's get degrees.
They do.
So I always want A's, but C's will get degrees, and I don't have to be the best, employee or the best anything to succeed.
No.
So I love this topic.
Thank you. And Daniela said, I like to talk of failure as someone trying to recover from perfectionism, immigrant parents who said mistakes, failure was not allowed. And that's a whole part two of this conversation, right? Because that is definitely in our genes in terms of, yeah, mistakes and failure at some point did equal like death, depending on what your background is, especially your cultural background and your history. Our job now is like, because of those sacrifices from ancestors and those who have come before us, our job now is learning that when we make a mistake or we fail, it is not death. How do we relearn a new way? Because that's what I was going to say, like the person in power gave you the permission. So your lizard brain was like, all right, okay, well, if they said it's okay, it's okay. But when it's much more challenging for us to give ourselves the permission. But if you can give yourself the permission, that you don't have to be dependent on other people to do that. That is what I am working on with you all. Learning to give yourself the permission, because once you have that, you're unstoppable. I want you to give yourself permission like Kanye gave himself permission, okay? Kanye, 2002, was just walking around here with a backpack and a bear costume, being like, I'm the greatest rapper. I just want you to have that level. Now we could make some arguments about there's some what's the polite word, Leanna? Like some things there. We can make a thing, but I'm just saying he has broken record after record, just over here failing his way, in more ways than one. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up. Like that's the thing. You already feel failure. So you're already living the worst case scenario. If the worst thing that could happen is you fail, you're already living it. So in my brain, I'm like, why don't I just do what I want to do since I already lived and survived the worst case scenario? Because y'all, like, no one's gonna be like, oh, you gotta get out of this program because you took a risk with your dissertation. They're gonna be like, no, just change it. That's how I go in. I'm like, I'm gonna just put it here and see what they say. Oh, no one said anything. Keep it moving. Because the worst they're gonna say, take it out, change it. You can't do it, and you still have there's still room for conversations and a response back. But like seriously, they're just gonna say change it. So thank you for that. Right. In this program, we follow 3 rules, right? Scholar basics every day, weekly planning, meet with your chair once a month. The Scholar Basics is about increasing your energy and your emotional capacity. Because if you don't have energy, if you're not hydrated, if you're not sleeping, you don't take care of your body, there's no way that you have a chance of increasing your emotional capacity to take the risk, right? To be like, I might fail. The Scholar Planner routine is the structure that keep you focused and being like, this is what we're going to do. So you're giving your prefrontal cortex direction. Like we have 6 hours over the week. If we could do these 3 things, it'd be great. And meeting with your chair is communicating with them. And the best case scenario is like supportive, telling you if you're headed in the right direction, if making progress. Come back to these 3 rules when you get confused, when you get overwhelmed, you get burnt out, when you don't know where to start. Pick a rule and do that one, but be willing to fail too. So there are 2 different types of fails I want to talk about. You got empty fails, worthy fails. Empty fails is deciding ahead of time, it won't work, I'm not going to do it, it won't matter. A worthy fail is, I'm going to try it and it may not have the outcome I think it will. It's 2 different energies. Did I skip my slide? Okay. Empty fails, right? It's been like, Scholar Planner routine, it won't work for me. I need to do more than 3 things. That's my favorite. I love it when I get to talk to y'all. I'm like, so what's your plan? You're like, no, I don't do that because I got more things to do in my life than just 3 tasks. I'm like, well, did you complete 3 tasks this week? No, I know. I made it this way for a reason. Or maybe you're like, I'm going to write Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Wednesday morning comes and you're like, I don't feel like it. I will not write. It's not going to matter anyway. I already missed Monday, so why write on Wednesday? Avoid meeting with your chair. I already know what they're going to say. They're going to be unsupportive, so what's the point? Anytime you hear yourself saying, what's the point? It won't matter. You're deciding ahead of time to fail. Being confused, overwhelmed, or unmotivated, that's you failing ahead of time. Now, you might want to argue with me to be like, I got all the reasons why it's true that I'm confused, and it's true that I'm overwhelmed, and it's true that I'm unmotivated. I'm not saying you're not these things. I'm saying, what does this have to do with you following your plan? Or if you don't have a plan, go make a plan or go write a shitty paragraph. You can be confused and write a shitty paragraph. You can be overwhelmed and write a shitty paragraph. You can be unmotivated and write a shitty paragraph. Planning the how without taking action. You over here, y'all got spreadsheets and notebooks and planner after planner and stickers. Because listen, I was on Etsy the other day looking at all the stickers, okay? But you didn't take not one action. And you asking everybody else, Candace, now how you do XYZ? How you wash your dishes? Okay, Leanna, how you wash your dishes? I'm asking everybody how they wash their dishes, but I haven't washed a dish. You know how I can find out what works for me? I go wash a dish, right? But that's an empty fail. A worthy fail is when like I created this plan, but I only finished 1 task in 6 hours. Now we're gonna find out what's working for you, right? You might find that like, oh, you just need to chunk down that task more. Right, you show up to your scheduled to write at your scheduled time, and you thought you were gonna write like 2 pages, but because you don't feel like it, you're just gonna write a shitty paragraph. Because can I at least just write a shitty paragraph? You schedule an appointment with your advisor, and then they don't show up. Right, you thought y'all were gonna meet, but they didn't show up. It's a worthy fail because what you thought was gonna happen didn't happen. Right, going back to my definition. Now, I don't think crying is a failure, but I think y'all think it's a failure, so I put this in here. You ask for coaching and then you end up crying. You're like, I don't know why I'm crying. I'm just crying. You thought you was gonna come and be like, talk to me like with a face straight face, and you didn't. You started crying. You pick a methodology and then you find a different one 3 months later, right? You wrote the whole methodology chapter, and then 3 months later, you're like, actually, this one is better, and you rewrite it. Someone could consider that a failure. Maybe decide to quit a leadership position because it's distracting. It's taken away from the time and the energy you could be devoting to a dissertation. Some people could see that as a failure. even though you're making a powerful decision to be like, nope, I'm putting myself first. Maybe you take a, like, maybe Sunday afternoon, you woke up, you felt good, it was daylight savings, and you wrote a whole draft of your literature review. You turned it in, and someone was like, I think you need to rewrite it. But when you rewrite it, at least you know you can actually write one. This is all in love. Okay, so calling out in love. Be willing to fail. Be willing to try impossible things and fail. I'm using the language impossible because that's what it would feel like. Like, that's impossible to do. Usually when I tell people, you know, you could do XYZ, they're like, no, no, actually, no, I'm not going to even entertain what you're saying because that sounds ridiculous. Don't ask me for a deadline. Seriously, y'all gonna be like, what now? Because I honestly think you could do more than you're giving yourself credit for. I'm going to show you how to use the old scholar planning routine. We are going to make a commitment together as a group. You're not going to get overwhelmed. You're going to try it out before you decide it won't work for you. Trust the process. Okay. Shout out to the old routine. And the reason why I got to give this disclaimer, because it's the reason why I changed it. People are like, this is so much. I'm overwhelmed. Y'all want to know what it is? I'm going to show you. I even tweaked it slightly a little bit, but I'm going to show you the whole thing. So I'm going to need you to take out some paper. I'm going to need you to, we're going to take this step by step. But I wanted to have the conversation about failing and impossible things and how the brain works, because when we go through this process, you're going to hear your brain tell you all the reasons why this is stupid. What is she talking about? This won't work. This is going to take me longer than what I got planned. I don't know how I'm supposed to do all of this. Just know that's your lizard brain, because I'm introducing something new. But before we get there, let me get another reaction. How are we feeling now? An emoji, a one word. I wish we could do like GIFs in the comments. Zoom is not there yet.